Welcome back to Commodore Corner, just down the road from Spectrum Street and around the corner from Amstrad Avenue. We're in the 8-bit part of town once again. Retro Bear in the gaming pantry where he should be in the corner. Now, the Commodore Corner is downstairs. The pantry is upstairs. Does that make any sense? It's sort of back to front, isn't it, really? Anyway, welcome back. Good to have you with us once more for another journey into the world of Commodore 8-bit in Commodore Corner, a regular-ish series where I just pick random games from my collection and just play them. I think it started out initially just random games, then it was I'll work my way through this shelf, and then when everything got moved around it was like back to random games or hit squad games. And then the last couple of episodes we've done some encore elite budget labels. We did some Mastertronic horror theme games in the last episode. You may have seen that. If you have done, thank you very much. And today we're doing the Great British Edition, which is what most comedians tell themselves when they get to a point in life when nobody wants to book them anymore. What can I do in my life? Who will employ me? And then somebody says, do you fancy doing a game show? Well, that's how it used to be many, many years ago. You got over the hill and a bit old hat, then somebody came along and offered you a game show. They still do that now, or they just host game shows anyway, I think. I love game shows. Game shows I grew up with watching on television. It's fantastic. And what you're going to see today here is, I've got to say, 5 incredibly varied versions of games based on game shows, which probably isn't a great idea when you sit down and think about it. But back then was a very, very good way for game companies to nab a quick, cheap license and bring out a game for it and shift a few thousand copies of it. We still have games based on game shows, although more now about Trivial Pursuit's had many, many games based about it. There is me playing Trivial Pursuit on the channel somewhere. And I think about the Wii collection on my shoulder. There's a few games there based about it, about game shows or variations on that. We had the DVD interactive players game, so you had things like Blankety Blank and Family Fortunes, Teddy Addicts, of which they put versions of those onto PlayStation 2, and the Wii. How do I know that? Well, guess what? There's versions of me playing Wii versions of Deal or No Deal, Countdown, Family Fortunes. I haven't done Teddy Addicts, or did I do Teddy Addicts? I may have done Teddy Addicts, possibly. And again, they're somewhere lurking in the gameplay section of this channel. And for some reason, every now and again, they seem to creep up in views. I don't know why. Anyway, so what we got here, we're going back in time. We're going back to the 1980s, where everything was much more innocent and less scary, possibly. Anyway, and we're using the compilation It's TV Show Time. Now, anybody who's watched the channel recently would have seen me show off a gaming gift I had from Archive Oddball, which was a game show package which had 3 of the games on here, ironically. Every Second Counts, Bullseye and Blockbusters. Now this was the slightly expanded version, which included 2 further games, The Krypton Factor and Bob's Full House. Bob's Full House was a game show hosted by Bob Monkhouse based around bingo. Bullseye was a darts gaming show, so I think they still do many. It's been revived a number of times, hosted by comedian Jim Bowen, based around the game of darts. Blockbusters pitted university students, a team of 1 and a team of 2. Can you tell me a team of 1? A 1 player against 2 players in a sort of a quiz-based format hosted by Bob Holness. Every Second Counts was probably the most complicated one of the lot. A game where you have to answer questions to win seconds to put forward to the final game, hosted by former comedian and now magician at this point in time, Paul Daniels. And then the final one, the Krypton Factor, which was probably the most varied of the games you're going to see here, because they was done under different categories. So there was a mental category, there was a memory category, there was actual physical assault course which was done by the Marines or the Army or something like that, where you had to go through a proper assault course as part of it. General knowledge, hosted by, I believe, a former newsreader called Gordon Burns. Never used to watch it. There's the back of the box. It's rattling around because there's no manual with this one, sadly. It's just tapes. But you can see there we've got Bullseye. We've got Every Second Counts. Oh, it's not every second counts. No, that's not every second counts. What's that one? That's the Krypton Factor. Sorry, Krypton Factor. Blockbusters, every second counts. And then right on the far side here, Bob's Full House. Right. Get your pullovers out. Get your neon jumpsuits out. Get your leg warmers on. Your lycra out. Your shell suit out. Let's take ourselves back to the 1980s, where we can join Mr. Retro Bear playing some game show games. So let's kick off this episode of Commodore Corner with Bob's Full House, which sadly failed to load. I wasn't quite sure if it would fail to load. It just didn't seem to get beyond here. It told me to turn the tape over and rewind it and load the questions, but nothing happened, which is a real shame because I wanted to play that. So in that case, we better move on to the second game. Just on the subject of Bob's Full House, I did actually have a look online to see if I can get hold of a copy, and the cheapest one at the time when I recorded this months ago was on sale for approximately £13, and I thought, well, I don't want to play it that much. Anyway, let's move on to Bullseye, which is a variation of the popular darts-based quiz show, which ran for many, many years and has come back many, many times. The object of the game, very simply, split into different sort of sections. This is trying to score as many points as possible, so you can then use those points, and then if you get the higher points score than the competitor, you get to answer a question for those number of points. In the real game it was pounds, but obviously you're not going to get pounds on this. They're just not going to just drop out your Commodore 64. And it's exactly what it is. There is a sort of a prize board as we go through this, and then there's the opportunity to play for the big prize at the end. Did I watch Bullseye a lot when I was a kid? Yeah, it was on and about. It was quite enjoyable. Darts was very popular then, as it seems to be again once more, as it has been in the last sort of 15 years. But, I mean, as a gaming experience, this is pretty rough. The sound effects are absolutely minimal. You're not actually hearing anything, because there aren't any. Occasionally you get a quick twinkle of the Bullseye theme tune. The controls are fairly straightforward. A bit patchy, I must be honest. The questions, again, you're playing a game which is like 35 years old, so if you've got general knowledge or current affairs or something, you're probably going to have to rely on a bit of memory. But it's a quiz game. You expect a bit of a thinking going on to test the old grey matter. That's why they're here, of course. Anyway, there is in terms of this sort of a strength, and it affects your direction as well. It took me a bit of a while to work out what I'm doing, and I'm actually playing all these against myself. There we go, hit a treble 20. There you go. Great. I'm Ret Bear, and my other half is not Bear, as in my other half. I think my other personality, which Yorkshire Village is a TV series. I can't spell Wakefield. What am I spell? Wakefield? No, so I can't even spell. But you just type the answer in. If you get it wrong, this part of the game, it passes over to the side. What is it? Look, it is what it is. Nothing special. Yeah, it's darts on your computer. Right, so we should be moving on to the next game now, which is probably one which is maybe the least memorable on this one, which is Every Second Counts, which was hosted by magician Paul Daniels. I remember this one from when I was younger, but it took me ages to work out how to play the game. The idea is you have a team, and you alternate answering questions, and the idea is every time you get a question right, you win seconds, and the seconds carry forward to the end game, where you have to win prizes. And it's basically true or false. It's not too complicated. Again, but it did take me a while to work out what was the format, because this game, I think if I remember correctly, didn't come with instructions, and you're getting different subjects and different topics, and the idea is more seconds you get, the more chance you have of winning the final round, which is all well and good. You've got different subjects to choose from, and if you get this question right, you win control of the board. Winter Olympics in 1994 Sarajevo. But again, it's one of these things where, am I spelling Sarajevo correctly? I don't know. Perhaps I should answer a question on something else, but I'm desperately trying to... Oh, country, not capital. And of course now you've got to think how to spell Czechoslovakia. Is that the correct answer? No, because it's not. And as you can see in the top of the screen, my time to type in the answer is incorrect. There we go. So having answered that question correctly, we can control the board again, and then you're back to true or false. When I say true or false, it gives you a different variation to make it more interesting. So a real fairy, I'm guessing, would be magic, and a non-fairy would be tragic. I'll leave you to work that one out as to how politically correct that sounds nowadays. If I could just maybe scan forward and try and show you a bit more of the end game here. This is it. So you get different categories, and you can see just across the top where the contestants are sitting, there's a range of triangles in yellow, and the idea is the correct answer you get, those turn from yellow to red, and therefore you sort of count that time down. I'm going to run out of time here before I go, but it's about the second or third go I had it in. I got a bit better as I went along. So yeah, not a quiz show that many people remember, but obviously on the compilation this was by far and away my most favourite one. And we move on to that time-old classic Blockbusters. Yes, all new Blockbusters according to this. That's a rather good little digitised image there, which has been very well generated on the loading screen. Blockbusters ran for many years, usually on a tea time weekdays. Did it run on weekends? I can't quite remember. And the idea, as you'll see from the board here in a second, usually it's two teams against each other. One team of on their own, one team with two people, and you can see you have to work your way from left to right or up and down. So the blue, if you answer a question correctly and you're the blue team, the yellow hexagon turns blue, and the idea is to build a line. You can go all the way across the board as long as it's a consecutive number of consecutive number of hexagons all the way to the bottom, and the red will go the other way. Behind each yellow hexagon is a letter, and the letter will give you a question. So for example, as we see there, what C is another name for eye teeth? Yep, there we go. Completely forgotten how to play the game. What C is another name for eye teeth? And I've typed in wisdom. You can't ask any questions in it. You can't. Oh my goodness, I didn't realise I actually typed that at the time. There we go. I'm much more at home on this one. What Z was a car and also a gentle west wind? If I could actually work out how to use the keyboard, the answer is Zephyr. It's the correct answer, and there you can see that red square then turns, hexagon then turns. And the idea, once you go across the board, then you get to play a gold run, which is what used to be the prize game at the end of it. Yeah, I mean, again, it's what it is. If you like general knowledge, great. You can play against the computer as I'm doing here, or you can play against somebody else. It is, but these games are so limited in what they're trying to achieve. Yes, it's fun to play something like this, but at the same time, what are you actually going to get out of it other than, especially if you're playing it like I was on my own, an own sense of satisfaction? But yeah, Blockbusters. I mean, yeah, it's not a bad little, it's a good quiz program, but as a game, it's like the others, so limited. Let's then whiz on to the final game, which is the Krypton Factor. Big jump cut there. And this is the one I could not get on with at all. Krypton Factor was a mixture of different challenges, different rounds based on agility, knowledge, puzzle solving, and there was a physical assault course. On this part of the game here, first of all, is you have to put these numbers in numerical order. They flash up on the screen, then the idea is you type them in and do so. If you can read the scrolling bar across the bottom, which is going to become apparent in a second, not the easiest thing to do. And then the idea is just to type in the numbers in numerical order as they were. You've got 4 seconds to do it. I'm trying to work out how to do it, and I ran out of time or something anyway. So that was it. And then you went on to this further round, which was even more frustrating, where they give you a picture and this scrolling image text across the bottom, and they then give you exactly the same picture with the same text, but they've added bits and taken bits away from it. So it's sort of a test of memory, because at the time I was struggling to read this bar across the bottom. I wasn't quite sure have I missed anything out here, or have I missed anything out the picture? And that was it. And by this point, I think it was only the second round in. I got incredibly frustrated and decided not to go any further with it, which is a real shame. But yeah, I did not enjoy this at all. It was a pretty terrible interpretation of a quiz show which was different. It was trying to be something different, not just asking people questions all the time. So yeah, I don't know. I again just really struggled with this. It's a real shame, and this is probably, perhaps the game which has got the most varied playability of all 5 of these we've shown you here. I mean, Bob's Full House got the playability of flipping the tape over and finding out it doesn't load. That doesn't count. But yeah, I mean, if I stuck this, would it have been better? Probably not. I don't know. I wasn't really enjoying it. I'm not sure what round, the agility round, which would have taken, how they would have done that, because the whole purpose of that round was to do an assault course, and there's very little sound effects, and yeah, just not happy with this one, I'm afraid. Yeah, that was a real mixed bag. Your enjoyment of that and these games is going to be based on how much you enjoy quizzes, games based on game shows in general, and the fact that you can sit there being a smart arse and you're not going to win anything. You're just going to basically do it for your own self-satisfaction and for being a smug git. No, there's nothing wrong with that, is there, every now and again? That's basically what it is. What do we think? Well, we didn't think much of Bob's Full House, did we? And that was really the one I wanted to play, because I used to love Bob's Full House. It was really good. There's loads of episodes on YouTube. If you want to go and watch some of those. I was a big fan of Bob Monkhouse, great comedian, one of the best stand-up comedians this country has ever produced, because he was so far ahead of his time. He was very much an Americanised way of doing his jokes. This is another subject. I'm going to stop whittling on this another subject. I'm very well versed in, so I'm not going to get about it. What a shame it didn't work. I did try and find a copy of it afterwards, which I, as I may have said, I don't know, because I'm recording this out of sequence. I may have said this in the video. If not, I'm repeating myself. But I wasn't going to pay the price it was on eBay. Just wasn't worth it. So what a shame. It may work. I may have been too naive, not waiting for it to load, but it didn't seem to me like it was going to work, so what a pity that was. Blockbusters is what it is. It was, again, you probably need 2 people to make it really enjoyable. Good game show, but I'm not sure it really worked the game. Bullseye, oh god, that was really terrible. I mean, you may not have heard much sound on it, because I tend to have the sound turned down quite low, but I mean, none of these games had any interesting sound effects or music or anything. Consider this is meant to drag people in. Not very good at all. Every second sound was probably the most confusing one, because without the instructions I had forgotten what that game show used to be like. I sort of twigged towards the end, and I think again if I went back and played it I'd approach it slightly differently. I did quite enjoy that game show when I was young. The one that really, probably the worst one of the lot on here was a Krypton Factor, because that game just dragged. Needing numerous players to have a go at it, and I just couldn't get into it at all. I didn't even get, beyond sort of the second round, as you would have seen. It just didn't work for me at all as a game. I mean, on a whole, could I recommend this compilation? No, I couldn't recommend it at all. Would I recommend picking up any of the games individually? Because they may have come out individually, I think they did. Again, no, probably not. If anybody does know, want to get a good copy of Bob's Full House, I might be interested in picking that up. And I'm going to do you all a favour, actually. As Bob's Full House, one of these, another great interest of mine, which everybody will find absolutely boring, is my love of TV themes. I absolutely love TV theme tunes, always have done, because it harkbacks when you hear a theme tune, it stays with you forever, and it's fantastic. Bob's Full House had a really good theme tune. I'm going to stick a link in the description below to a channel called Cut and Thrust, who every now and again puts up remixed versions of old theme tunes, and they're really good. If anybody remembers the 2 Ronnie theme tunes, they're belting one of that on there, honestly. I'll stick a link into the Bob's Full House one, because I'd forgotten about how good that theme tune was until I heard this remix video. I thought, wow, it's really good. So I'll put that in the description below as a bit of a favour for sitting through this rubbish, because it's not been a particularly great episode. None of these games there are particularly great. Even if you get 5 in a compilation pack, and you know the Retro Bear, he does love a bargain, there is not a bargain to be had there, honestly. I'd leave that behind, and unless you've got any interest in any of those quiz shows whatsoever, don't bother. Honestly, I don't usually say that. There's always, I can find some redeeming factor about it. No, sorry, every second counts, maybe. But, I mean, that is a maybe, as in, if I'm going to stick my finger in the air and actually give you a recommendation, that's what I'll be saying. I've whittled on enough. Anyway, thanks for coming into the corner once more. We will see you again very time soon. Sometime soon. Like I said before, if you've got anything that you'd like to see me have a go at, like a theme, like a genre, like a series of games or a label or anything like that, if I've got it, I'll try and do it for you. Stick your comments in below, stick your suggestions in there, and I'll see what I can sort out for you. Anyway, I'll see you back here sometime very soon. Thanks for coming in again once more. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.